Good morning. Welcome to the Pitch Light Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm here with Donald, and we are here, and we have news. Donald, the floor is yours, my friend.
What a disaster. What a disaster. But this is what happens when you fail to speculate to accumulate. This is what happens when you don't attack the top of the market. This is what happens when you start going, oh, well, we'll go with value. We'll go with a couple of good guys here, a couple of good guys here. And then it starts to build up. And then suddenly you start overpaying people such as Trent Grisham quadruple what he got paid last year. Quadruple. Quadruple. It's an absurd amount of money. He gave you a minus 11 DRS last year. And you're paying him $22 million. You think he's going to hit 30 home runs again next year? Good luck. Cashman just couldn't help himself. His enormous ego, he just cannot help himself. He finally got a win. You finally got a win. Take the win. Good job. You managed to get something out of Trent Grisham that no one else had to that point. Congratulations. Good for you. Finally. We've been waiting for decades for that. We finally got it. Doesn't mean you need to pay him quadruple what he got paid last year. You just go, thanks so much, go test the market. That's all you have to do. Decline the qualifying offer. Don't give him it. Just say, go test the market. If there's a position for us to bring you back, great. If not, thank you so much for what you did. It's not about hating like a Trent Grisham. There's something about that. Trent Grisham was great last year. Really good. But the value is atrocious. It's awful value. And it's created a logjam to this outfield, which has monumentally screwed this offseason before it's even begun. The Yankees' payroll now, according to SpotRack, is now $260 million. It's already at 260. Right? So just bear that in mind. We're already at 260. We do not have at least one starter. We need at least one starter, maybe probably two, considering the amount of arms that are going to be out to start this year. Right? So you need one, maybe two arms. You will need a lefty out of the bullpen at minimum, and a quality one, not a piece of shit one. You need a quality one. You also need a righty catcher. You probably need a first baseman. You definitely need a left fielder. And you definitely need a shortstop. And you may even need to upgrade at third base. I've named basically a whole team right there. And the Yankees are supposed to fill that with their top line budget being $305. How the frick are they meant to do that in $45 million? That's impossible. It cannot be done. So, they've screwed themselves over a fourth round pick. That's what they did. They screwed themselves over a fourth round pick. Brian Cashman wanted to be the smartest guy in the room, and he was like, I'm going to get a compensatory pick for Trent Grisham. He gave us a great year. He's going to go and test free agency, and we're going to get a fourth round pick. That's exactly what Brian Cashman thought. You gambled and you lost, Brian. You gambled and you lost. You've blown half your budget when you didn't need to do it. So those that were dreaming of Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker, Forget it. Bo Bichette, forget it. Ain't happening. All that's gone. Imai, oof, good luck. That's gonna be tough to do. Imai and now Cody Bellinger as well. Because you know the Yankees will have to bring back Cody Bellinger. The only way that this Trent Grisham contract is a good thing is if the Yankees back away from Cody Bellinger now. Because you're going to be allocating over $50 million to Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger. Neither of them are all-star caliber players. So you've blown your budget on not great players. It's a complete misallocation of funds. And that is what Brian Cashman is, man. He is so bad at building a roster. He can't construct a roster. He doesn't see the wood for the trees. He doesn't step back and go, is this the best use of money? $50 million. Say they go 5-6 years for Cody Bellinger, right? He's going to be wanting between $27 and $30 million per year, right? In order to make sure that he doesn't go to the Mets or the Dodgers, because on that quote, they're saying that the Yankees want to pay over the odds for Cody Bellinger. Well, over the odds for Cody Bellinger will be around about $27 to $30 million per year. So, say he gets 28. Grisham's 22. That's $50 million you're allocating to two players that are both good players. They're not great players. They're not all-star players. That is a horrible misallocation of funds. $50 million. When you pass, that's what happens when you fail to speculate to accumulate. So instead of laughing at Yankee fans wanting Bryce Harper, instead of laughing at Yankee fans who wanted Manny Machado or Bregman, you now start going for the cheaper value, right? But it builds up and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. Because now you're not going to be allocating $50 million to possibly Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham. If you're lucky. Awful misallocation of resources. Other organizations that are smart don't do that. That was a misallocation of resources. They've screwed themselves this offseason. It's kind of like if you're going to go to the mall to buy a whole new wardrobe, right? You got a budget. I'm going right down to the mall and I'm going to buy a whole new wardrobe for myself, right? But on the way down, you get lazy and you drive off the fucking road and drive your car into a fucking tree. That's what the Yankees have just done. They've driven off the road into a fucking tree. Now they have to pay for a car and a wardrobe. Because now the Yankees have to make up for the mistake that they've now just added themselves to. $22 million to Grisham, which you cannot trade, Evan, from WFAN. You cannot trade that contract. It's untradeable until June 15th. You can't just go, oh, well, that's cool. I'll just trade him. No, Evan, that's not how it works. We're on the hook for Grisham until June 15th at minimum. So guess what? You got him for the year. Because what team is going to be honestly sitting going, oh, great, I can't wait to take on $22 million of Grisham's contract in June. That's not going to happen. So you screwed yourself. You played yourself, Brian, because you think you're smarter than everybody else when you aren't. You aren't close. And by the way, the Yankees, if you're freaking lucky, you have to blow past 305 just to roll it back. And it still won't be good enough. Treading water is going backwards in baseball. You got to move forwards. There's no way the Yankees can now move forward with this clogged up asshole team. Now you have to trade Dominguez. Now you have to possibly even trade Spencer Jones. What a disaster. I can't say this enough. And shout out to us, by the way, Because me and Tats told you guys it was a disaster giving him that qualifying offer. We were actually, I look back and there's actually only a couple of pods that had that take.
Yeah.
And we were one of them. We were one of the smart ones. That's why you guys need to sub up. That's why you guys need to follow us, because we will give you guys the honest take. It might not be the popular take. It might not be the take that waves pom-poms. It might not be that take, but it'll be the honest take and it'll be the accurate take. They never should have offered Grisham that qualifying offer because they've screwed themselves. They did it to themselves. You reap what you sow, Brian. Good luck. Good luck. $40 million you got to spend for an entirely new roster. Good luck. Shout out to Issy for the $2, man. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Here's the problem. Because there could be one of two outcomes in this situation. This is either going to tell the fans, you know what, we have to finish this off for Judge. Budget be damned, right? This could mean absolutely nothing. They could blow past the 306 budget that they put on themselves. There's no cap in baseball as of now. Or it could be, we really don't, do we really want to fight with the Dodgers and Cohen, for, a couple of outfielders, where we could allocate some funds elsewhere, so they've already put themselves where you're going to have Grisham at 22, where you only had, 66 million to budget for, to stay under your own threshold. Well, you just took 22 million away from that.
Yep.
Also, the money allocated to Tim Hill and the money allocated to Weaver. So you've already used 3 players of that money. You're like, all right, now what do we do? Because if you do get a Bellinger for 30, now you're only dealing with 15 million?
Yeah, if that.
To round out your team. There is no way they could justify Grisham being in the outfield over Bellinger or Tucker. I'm sorry, you can't do it. Even if it's, if Bellinger wanted, wants 30 and Tucker wants 35, fine. I would rather them do that than 1 year of Grisham. And it's no disrespect to Grisham. I have nothing against him. He gave us a phenomenal year. But it was his only phenomenal year. There's no track record to say that he can duplicate what he did. So I know that I think it was I forget the beat writer. Oh, Brian Hoke. Couldn't understand why fans were so upset about this move when he hit you 35 home runs. But when has he ever hit over 20? This past season was an anomaly, in my opinion.
Agreed.
If they wanted to bring him back, they didn't need to give him the qualifying offer, right? Because now he's going from making $5 million to 22. For somebody like you said was supposed to be a pretty good a pretty good defender. You paid him like an elite one. And I've said it for years and years, Donald. I can't stand the qualifying offer. I think that is an abomination to the sport. I think it does more harm than good, because it really screws up the whole offseason because of that the attached pick and all the other bullshit that goes with it. It's a disaster. I hope that disappears. It's the move. Just it really. I think Cashman really. I used this phrase when we were first starting to coordinate for how we were going to attack today's show. I really think he misplayed his hand. I don't think he thought that he was going to take the offer.
No, he didn't.
Because I think Grisham made a mistake. Because now, if they go into the following season with the lockout, you have no home. That's why I was putting money on the fact that nobody would take a qualifying offer. Because we all know that this is going to become there will be a lockout at some point. How long it'll last, that I don't know, but I do know that they are so against each other. Nobody wants to give the other side anything right now.
I actually agree with Armand.
Yeah, Armand, you're right, and we're going to get to a lot of these comments because you guys are killing it. We appreciate it. We're going to go through some of the comments on your and get your takes in on this. But I think really the only winner is Grisham. It's not the fans. It's not Boone. It's not the front office. Is now you handcuffed yourself on how you're going to improve from last year. You improve from last year by the guys that and when it's always what have you done for me lately atmosphere in New York. He was atrocious in the postseason.
Atrocious.
He was a negative. But let's bring him back. Let's increase his salary by 4. I want to come on here and scream and curse and rave like a lunatic. But it's still too early in the offseason to get to that point. We'll see how things progress from here.
Well, where can they go?
It is not looking good, Donald. That this was their move.
Where can they go from here? That's the thing. Because we know
one more player and a cheap reliever. That's what they have left to do.
I mean, if we were the Dodgers, it would be different. If we were the Mets, it would be different. But we don't act like that. We never have since Hal Steinbrenner became the owner. So you have to go by that.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps saying the payroll is not sustainable as is. Well, I actually kind of feel bad for him because he's going to have to pay $320 just to make this a competitive roster, and this roster isn't even good at 260.
But like
this
you
is
said,
a good roster as is. Like, here's one way to look at it. We have taken on what? So we've taken on $22 million for Grish.
Mm-hmm.
We signed Yarbrough. We signed Tim Hill.
Oh, Yarbrough. I thought I said Weaver.
Yeah. So that's like basically $30 million, right? You've taken on. Are we a better team than we were last month? The answer is absolutely not. So you spent $30 million and you're not a better team than you were. That's because this roster is not well put together.
Well, this roster sucks.
Exactly. So when you don't develop a Jason Dominguez and you don't promote a Spencer Jones, that means that you're going to have to overpay in free agency for an outfield, right?
Yep.
And now you just overpaid by quadruple for Trent Grisham. That's what I'm saying. That's what happens when you don't speculate to accumulate. So all those guys that are all happy clappy because we didn't sign Juan Soto will enjoy having $50 million allocated to not one, but 2 non-All-Stars. Because Cody Bellinger is not an All-Star. He's just a good player. And it's not an insult to Cody Bellinger because he was our low-key MVP this year. It's not about hating. It's just looking at the long-term value. Is that value going to improve or decline as the years go on with Cody Bellinger? He's already 30, and he's had 4 bad years out of 6. Then the answer is unequivocally it's going to decline. He's not going to become a better player. That's just not going to happen. He's already had his great year. He had his MVP year. There's not an MVP year in the future for Cody Bellinger. You don't pay for that. But the Yankees are going to have to because they don't have a left fielder. So the only way that Trent Grisham picking up that qualifying offer helps the Yankees is that the Yankees actually go, right, I'm not going to go and give Cody Bellinger 6 years. That's not going to happen. I'm either going to blow my fucking budget on a Kyle Tucker and go all in on an all-star, or I'm going to make a little bit of a detour move, and I'm going to go and make a move for Donovan. I'm going to make a move for a Quan instead.
Well,
right?
That's what he would have to do now.
That is a better use of resources than taking on $30 million for Cody Bellinger for the next 5-6 years. You'd have to be insane to think that's a good use of resources. It is a terrible use of resources. You cannot do that. You attack and move for Marte. You attack and move for Donovan. You attack and move for Quan. You attack and one of those kind of moves that is cheaper, but you're going to get requisite value, requisite war. That's why the Yankees need a front office, man. They need a modern front office. They need someone that can actually pay attention to value. Because Brian Cashman gets emotional. Like, he was like, yes, Trent Grisham got 30 home runs. That makes me look good. Right, let's pick up his qualifying offer because I'm going to get his 4th-round pick and I'm going to look like a genius. Well, Grisham played you like a fiddle, Brian. And for those saying that Grisham made a mistake, I disagree. Because no one would be paying Grisham $22 million a year. No one. Grisham knew that. He would have had his agent. Well, his agent will already have attacked that GM meetings, which Brian Cashman wasn't in attendance for, by the way. So his agent would already be aware of what teams are going to be willing to offer Trent Grisham. Grisham would probably get paid $22 over 2 years. So instead, he was like, I'll just take $22 million up front, thanks very much. I don't need to get that deferred. I don't want to go to Pittsburgh to be, no disrespect to Pittsburgh, but it's not a good organization. Great town, terrible organization. He's like, do I want to freeze my ass off in Pittsburgh and I get paid $22 million over 2 to 3 years, or I can get $22 million up front to play on Broadway in the Bronx. Yankee Stadium, baby. He's like, I'll take the fucking ladder. Thank you. I'll take that $22 million. Thanks very much. I'll take my chances next year. I think Trent Grisham played Brian Cashman like a fucking fiddle because the Yankee organization thought they were so smart that they were going to get a 4th-round pick, qualifying compensatory pick for him. Grish was like, pay up, Buttercup. Thank you very much. Put that in my back pocket. Now you guys are going to have to pay me. Good for Grisham. Good for Grisham. I'm happy for Grisham.
Grisham won. I'm not mad at him for taking the offer.
He won.
Yeah.
He got paid $5 million last year. He's going to get paid $22 million this year regardless. He could bat 150 and hit 10 home runs, and he's still going to get $22 million. He won. It's like somebody that was getting paid minimum wage wakes up, wins the lottery, and is getting $22 million in your bank account the next day. And you're going to turn that down and go, no. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to work hard. Fuck that. I'll take that $22 million. Thank you very much. Good for Grisham. This is not about hating on Grisham. I like Grisham. I
want to finish this year off looking at Grisham's line and be like, wow, we thought this was. I hope he has a great year.
Yeah.
I'm not. Believe me, this is not wishing failure on him. This is more pissed off at Cashman than pissed off at Grisham. Let's just clear that right now. Right? Grisham, he's a good Yankee. He enjoyed being here. He gave us everything he had, and he got rewarded for it.
Yep.
But he got rewarded, but I don't. He deserves to be rewarded. But this team had other needs. That's the frustration.
Yep.
like you said, you use this phrase, and unfortunately we all used it a lot. It was just a misallocation of funds.
Yeah.
That's all this was. I hope we come on here going, could you believe how bad we were about this? Boy, were we wrong. What a great year. He was able to do it again. Go Grisham.
Dude,
I hope I really want that to happen.
We're still not wrong. It's still not a good use of resources, even if he does have a good year.
Yeah. But let's the last couple of shows we've been so wound up, and we haven't really interacted with our chat too much, and we do always appreciate them. So let's go through some of these comments here while we have a little time. Doran, guys, I was shocked when the Yankees picked Grisham up for $5 million last offseason.
Well, that was a win.
We were shocked that he gave us the year he did for $5 million. The guy, look, he worked for the money that he's making this year. There's nothing you can say about it. The TC Steelers, what's going on, TC? The Yankees organization is an absolute embarrassment now.
Well said, TC.
Exactly. It's the organization definitely is a problem. John Beagle Dad, they're so worried about payroll. This proves they are stupid. Misallocation of funds. That's going to be the phrase of the offseason. It's pretty much been the phrase of his whole tenure as GM. He does not know how to put a team together.
Duran says, I read the Yankees are currently at 259 effective payroll, not including arbitration raises. Yeah, it's on Spot Rack, 259, 260 mil. That's where they're at now. And as you say, they need a third baseman, they need a shortstop, they need a first baseman, they need a righty catcher, they need a lefty bullpen arm, they need at least one, maybe two quality starters. Good luck. Good luck. And you're supposed to get that and stay under 310. Good luck. Yep. I don't know how they're going to do it.
I like this from Lou. What's going on, Lou? Goes, the season's cooked. It hasn't even started yet.
I know. The winter hasn't even started yet. We've not even reached the winter meetings.
Oh.
And the season.
And Nail is getting an extension, so that's one less first baseman that we have the ability to get. But then you get the very next comment after Lou. He's like, Quan or Donovan would be the only way Cashman salvages this.
That's what I would say. I would say,
and that's why I said they're gonna have to really come up with some creative trades. Armand then followed it with this question: what pitching would you give up for Quan? He has 2 years of control.
Well, we actually do have a surplus of pitching. Mm-hmm. We've added Chase Hampton to the 40-man. You've got guys like Will Warren, who was a useful arm last year, very credible fifth starter. If you could put together that kind of package, and some B prospects in there.
Look at like a Hampton, Warren, and
some other prospects. Well, there's things that you can do, to make a deal for.
If they wait until June 15th, we could trade. We can throw Grisham into it.
Exactly right, but we're going to be losing Beck to the Rule 5. Yeah. We're also going to be losing TJ Rumfeld to the Rule 5, Cohen to the Rule 5.
Rumfeld's the one that kind of bothers me.
Rumfeld sucks.
I would like to try to find a way to.
But not Rumfeld sucks. The Rumfield decision sucks because the Yankees should have done something with Rumfeld before he goes to the Rule 5. But you could be trading these guys.
Nothing we can do about it.
You could be trading these guys now.
Yeah.
I like Donovan. I think Donovan I even like more than Quan, to be honest. If you put Donovan in left field,
I wouldn't be hateful either way. I like them both.
I'm going to pass on Cody Bellinger. This is the only way that Grisham move is a good one because it saves us from. Well, I'm saying it could save us for making a huge cataclysmic mistake and taking on Cody Bellinger for 6 years. Plus maybe even 7. I believe that it would be cataclysmic mistake, and I'm not going to do it.
Here's
Grisham,
the best
next year. If you go and make a move for a Donovan, then you've still got in the mix Dominguez and Spencer Jones. You can still you're actually able to allocate resources properly. Then you can go and get Okamoto. Then you can go and get Imai, and then you can maybe look to get an upgrade over McMahon at third base, and comfortably stay in the 300 mil range and be a better roster. That's what I'm doing. I don't want to roll this thing back.
no.
That's what I'm pissed. I don't want to roll this thing back. It didn't work last year. For those saying, oh yeah, but they made the DS. They lost the division. They got steamrolled in the DS.
They should have gone into the DS rested.
Right. They were lucky to make the DS.
They were exhausted after that Red Sox series. That was a battle.
Right. Cam Schlittler had to have the pitching performance of a lifetime to get past the Red Sox. We get to the DS and we got steamrolled. Is that what you guys want? Is that what you guys see as a good year? I don't count that as a good year. But that's where there's a divergence between Yankee fans that have seen shit and Yankee fans that haven't. Yankee fans are just happy to be there now. Some Yankee fans are just happy to be there, right? But that's not what the Yankee way is. The Yankee way is higher expectations than that. If you're not going to plan to go all the way in October, then I'm sorry, you haven't fulfilled your expectations for the year. Thus, you've got to make changes. The Yankees are just happy to be there now, and they just want to roll it back. Rolling it back doesn't work. It doesn't work. And by the way, did the Dodgers win when the Dodgers won the World Series 2 years ago, did they roll it back? Did they They went and got themselves better so they can win another one the year after. You can't just roll it back on a team that didn't do shit. That is the stupidest idea I have ever heard. You do not roll back a roster that did shit. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire freaking life. And I've been on the earth for 40 years. I've never, ever seen a roster, an organization happy to fail and go, I'm going to roll it back. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You lost the division and you got steamrolled in the DS, and the Yankees are like, let's roll that shit back.
Well,
You got to be out of your fucking mind to be happy with that.
There we go. There's Donald. Look, it's the problem is you get a comment, you get a statement from Bone at the end of the year saying he would love to have this team back. You know, he would want to keep everybody. No, you dumb fuck. You don't want to keep everybody. I mean,
there's Uncle Tats.
Serious. Yeah, right. You know, you failed. You didn't win the World Series. You didn't even sniff the World Series. You want to run it back? Are you stupid? Look, that's something you look at the end. Go look. You go into the locker room. Look, we had a hell of a year. We fell short. You know, I enjoyed coaching you all. Let's see what happens next year. You don't have to go in public and be like, yeah, because now the GM's going, well, I was able to, you know, if we bring everybody back, that'll keep us under that payroll. So let's just put out the same flawed team over and over again and just hope it works. I mean, come on. It doesn't. This front office drives me absolutely insane.
Oh.
But let's say, Donald, let's put a little twist on this.
Okay.
With Grisham, best case scenario.
Okay.
Right? Great repeat year. Give Spencer Jones an extra year to develop. The CBA comes to an agreement. Baseball goes on as planned. And you get an extra year of development for Spencer Jones, and he takes over and kills it in center field. Because it's not like we gave Grisham multiple years. It's 1 year. You know, then So it's not like a Hicks situation where we're just stuck with him.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. But I think that is the best case scenario. It's really not a great scenario to begin with.
Right. The best case scenario is that you don't have him next year.
Yeah. But Jones has that extra year to really
It's
develop.
not a disrespect on Trent Grisham.
Yes.
It's just that the Yankees can't lock themselves and give themselves a logjam in an outfield that isn't good enough as it stands. That just doesn't make sense. That's not good use of resources. That isn't a good use of resources.
No,
Aaron Judge has maybe, how long would you say he's got in right field? 3 years? 3 years max. 2-3 years as a right fielder. He's 34 right now. You probably don't want him to be playing right field at 37. Right? You don't. Right? So you got maybe 2 years max of him playing right field. Center field now, we're going all in now. We're paying $22 million for Grisham, who is below average as a defensive center fielder last year. You're paying $22 million for a minus 11 defensive run save. Minus 2 outs above average. Right? Left fielder, we don't have a left field. Jason Dominguez, who the Yankees hate, was one of the worst left fielders defensively. Or you overpay for Cody Bellinger. He was very good, but he's actually better in center field. So that's what I'm saying. You're kind of logjammed there. So my best case scenario is that the Yankees now use their money wisely and move on from Cody Bellinger. You can replace 90 RBIs. It's not like Juan Soto, who the Yankees willingly passed on, who'd give you like 130 RBIs and an MVP caliber year. It's Cody Bellinger. He ain't an MVP.
I mean, they really didn't. I don't think they willingly gave up on, passed up on Soto. That was a negotiating battle between the two teams.
Yeah, they battled, but they lost. And
no, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, we all know
they lost. There's no second. You don't.
I'm sorry, Kansas.
I
said Kansas City could have offered $1 million more. He was going to take the extra $1 million.
Yeah, but I to be honest, I think the Yankees were relieved that you went to the Mets because they were not comfortable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but Plan B gave us a lot of entertainment, enjoyable moments.
So Plan B is Cody Bellinger, 20 home runs, 90 RBIs. You can make that up. You can. You just need to. But I'm not paying him 6 years for that. If you can get him for 3 years, then I do it. If you can get Cody Bellinger on a 3-year deal, then I do it.
I give him a 4th-year option.
3-year deal, 4th-year
mutual option. Yep.
Okay. You can do that. I can live with that. That's fine. By the way, it's not going to happen. The Dodgers like him and the Mets like him. He's going to want 6. He might even get 7. And the Yankees would be out of their frickin' minds to do that. That's what I'm saying. That's why they should not do it. So I'm cutting it off at 3, team option 4. Cutting it off at that. And if he moves on, that's fine. Because that means that you're not logged jammed to an outfield. You have to have a long-term vision here. What are you going to do with Spencer Jones? What about Jason Dominguez? You really want to trade Jason Dominguez, who is the Martian? You really want to move on from him?
No.
But the Yankees don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. And that's all I want. I want my front office to have a plan. But the Yankees, and that's my biggest criticism of Brian Cashman, they treat every season like they're in a 12-month vacuum, right? You know what I mean? They treat every offseason like they're in a 12-month vacuum. Oh, well, we'll make this move, we'll make that move, we'll take on this contract because it'll get us by this year. But it's bigger than that. Like, for instance, They left third base open last offseason. They didn't bring in a third baseman. They were like, "Oh, we'll let it fly with Oswaldo Cabrera, and we'll get DJ LeMahieu." Right? That was a flaming disaster. Poor Oswaldo got hurt, and DJ LeMahieu was ass, and he couldn't play third base anyway, and we had to DFA him. Right? So then the Yankees, instead of going, well, we could really attack third base in the offseason. Instead, we're going to take on McMahon's contract for the next 3 years. $60 million per year. It's almost $50 million of his contract for 3 years. Now, I like McMahon a lot, but is that really a good use of resources that you're now paying him for the next 2 years for someone who doesn't give you a bat?
Yeah.
They don't really think ahead. They're always thinking just in that 12-month vacuum. Oh, in that 12-month vacuum, yeah, you've upgraded with McMahon. McMahon is a miles better third baseman than Oswaldo.
Yeah, but the
McMahon is a miles better third baseman than DJ LeMahieu. Great trade. Problem is, now you're on the hook for him for the next 2 years, and he can't hit. He can't work.
Which would be fine if the rest of the lineup hit. You could absorb
exactly. That would be fine if Volpe could hit. But the Yankees are all in on Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe can't hit. So now the entire left side of your infield can't hit. That's what the problem is. Now you got a below average offensive shortstop and a below average offensive third baseman. That doesn't make sense. That's not good use of resources. If you're like, right, McMahon, low average, clutch guy, great glove, excellent. Well, that means I have to upgrade at shortstop. But the Yankees will refuse to upgrade at shortstop because they're tied to Anthony Volpe. So, that's what I'm saying. Their use of resources is not that good. They live in this 12-month vacuum. And then once we're beyond that 12 months, then they're like, right, what do we do now? Okay, so now we're going to pile on $22 million for Trent Grisham. Okay, what next? What next? All right, okay, so we'll bring back Cody Bellinger. Well, what about the next 6 years of Cody Bellinger, where he's going to decline? They just do not allocate their resources correctly. Their front office is a joke. And their analytics staff is absurd. Honestly, the analytics team cannot be sitting there going, $22 million for Trent Grisham is good value. They can't. That's not. They're stupid. This team is dumb. This team is dumb.
That's why it's like, I hate to, when they say, well, now we can't afford this guy. Now we can't afford that guy. I think afford is the word, is not the right word. Because it's just a bad investment. They could afford to, to get everybody that they want. But it's just, it's not their plan. So, they have to stick to their budget. But that budget is not cemented in stone. So I don't want to keep saying, because the Yankees could afford to still go and get Bellinger. They can still afford to sign, Pete Alonso for first base. Like, they can afford to take on those contracts. They just are choosing not to because they'd rather put their money into trying to salvage what was a pretty weak offense. They wanted to bring back Grisham, fine.
But
all right.
The team as a whole wasn't.
You can't hate on somebody that gave you 35 home runs, and was a pretty good, not a superstar, but a decent player. But then you look at, is Wells going to be this bad next year? I don't know.
Well,
he hasn't been around long enough to even know his track record.
Yep.
Volpe is a fucking disaster.
Yep.
I don't even let him touch a bat. Never mind be a bat.
Okay, let's go through this lineup. Right?
Okay.
Because we're tied to $260 million. And we're gonna decide now, is this good value? $260 million, right? Catcher. Austin Wells is coming off like a 700 OPS year.
Subpar year.
Ton of strikeouts. Subpar year, right? So let's say below average offensively at catcher. Okay. I think we can all agree on that. Okay.
Yep.
First base. We don't have a first baseman. Ben Rice is a catcher who they're going to try and pigeonhole into first base.
Pretending to be a first baseman right now. Can he develop into one? Sure. But right now he's just a backup.
I'll say positive offensive first baseman, negative defensive. Big time. Right? Second baseman, Jazz Chisholm, positive. Okay. I mean, he's out of his mind, but he's positive. Okay, so we'll go with a positive, right? Shortstop, complete negative across the board. Can't hit, can't field. Complete disaster. Plus, he's an asshole. Shortstop.
No, the way Volpe's been playing, I don't think he would crack a little league lineup.
No, absolutely not. Like he wouldn't even.
And I really hate picking on him, but he did it to himself.
One of the worst players in the majors.
Yeah,
absolutely. So you got one of the worst players in the league at shortstop. Okay, then you move to third base. Great glove, terrible bat. Okay, that's third base. Center field. Insane overpay, absurd overpay. Someone who's going to give you really good bat and an average glove. Not worth 22 mil. Left field, we don't have a left fielder.
Nope.
And right field, Aaron Judge, who's all world. And then you got Big G, who's great, but will miss
30 games a year.
Yeah, 30 to 40 games a year to keep him healthy. But we love Big G. Okay, so is that a good use of resources? $260 million. We've just went through that whole lineup, and there's problems littered.
Where's that? Say last part one more time.
The lineup is littered with problems.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's the problem. Like TC says, we're also we have in our lineup the worst infield in baseball.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because right now, your catcher, your second baseman, your shortstop, and your third baseman have nobody to throw to. All right, just for you, we'll go over it one more time.
Let's just do it just for you, TC. We don't have a left fielder. We don't have a first baseman. We don't have a righty catcher. We don't have a shortstop. Yeah.
It's
260 mil does not carry you as far as it used to. I'll tell you that.
Most years you're like, you could just talk about needing a couple of upgrades. All right, let's just get, let's upgrade at first, and let's upgrade here and upgrade there. This guy's, contract is over, so, but the way that it's looking right now, geez, I don't think there's any salvaging for next year.
Remember when Mike Lupica of the Daily News used to cry that the Yankee payroll was $200 million? The Yankee payroll is $200 million! As if that was this absurd amount of money. And they had Mark Teixeira, Robinson Cano, A-Rod, Derek Jeter, fucking Hideki Matsui. Oh my, they had this insane freaking team. Johnny Damon, Jorge Posada,
those were great teams.
Mariano Rivera.
Yep.
You got that for $200 million. Right now for $260 million,
that's one player's contract.
What a horrible use of resources. For $260 million, we don't have a left fielder, shortstop, catcher, first base, third. Fuck!
Oh my god! This is going to be a fun off season. It's not. Believe me, it's not going to be boring at all. It's going to be just pure entertainment, frustration. I love it.
Oh, I mean, if you guys want rants, you're going to get plenty of it. I just don't see how they're going to fix this.
I don't think they can.
Can they
They
fix
got
this?
not. I don't want to say that they can salvage it. We've gone over a few things. And it's going to be the trade market. That's the only because you're maybe going to be able to sign 1, 2 more players with what you have left to play with to get to 306. It's going to be one position player and a reliever because relievers really don't make a lot of money. But and yes, I think they should be getting some upgrade at the in the bullpen. So you also going into the season, you don't know who's going to be healthy in your rotation. So when you're making a trade and you move on from a guy like Warren or Hill or Hampton, are you just handcuffing yourself to run short of pitching? So he's going to have to Cashman. Oh God, help us! Needs to really be creative. And like we started our off season, the first show of the off season, Donald. We all sat here in agreement. We do not have faith in Cashman to figure out this off season.
No.
There is too much to do, and he doesn't have the resources or the moxie to pull it off.
Or the creativity.
No, John. Nobody should be loyal to Volpe. The only one loyal to Volpe are the Yankees.
Yeah.
And a couple of fans that still want to because of his age, they don't want to give up just yet. Look, Dominguez is a guy you don't give up on.
I'd be pissed if they traded him.
Because of his age, because of the way that they've handcuffed him, they yanktified him, and they don't give him the full opportunity. Volpe's been given every opportunity in the world, and he still can't figure it out. We've all watched this game long enough to know when somebody has it and when they don't. And Volpe don't. Yeah. I'm sorry. When he has a stretch where he's playing really well, yeah, we give him his pat on the back and attaboy, and we get excited for it. But we all know it's short-lived, very short-lived. He'll have a phenomenal game and then blooper ball in the 9th inning that cost us the game. But we're supposed to be excited that he went 3 for 3 with 3 singles, 2 RBIs. Well, you didn't make it out at the plate. Yeah, well, you didn't make the out on the field.
Yeah, he'll go for 3 for 3, but then the next week he's going to go for 20.
Exactly.
He'll go for 20. So what's the point? This offseason has started the worst in living memory.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Cashman.
I actually can't remember a worse start to an offseason. And it started with the press conference where Brian Cashman embarrassed himself, where he started flexing over Jeter and A-Rod. I'll never get over that. It was just an insane ego, right? But the biggest takeaway from that press conference was that there was not going to be any changes, right? Aaron Boone back. The Yankees are self-satisfied. Everything that I've been telling you guys for a year, that the Yankees are incredibly self-satisfied, happened in that press conference. Brian Cashman was self-satisfied. No issues there, right? He also said that him and Aaron Boone are in lockstep, even though they clearly aren't, because he knew more about Anthony Volpe's health than Aaron Boone did. So you're not actually helping your manager there, Brian, with your absurd ego. So we move on from that awful press conference. The next thing we find out is that Aaron Boone is flexing on Talking Yanks that they're the least analytical organization in the American League East.
Which we all know is bullshit.
Whether it's bullshit or not, what are you flexing about? Because then you're just basically calling yourself a moron. Right? Because all the moves have been a disaster. Oh, well, at least you just come off getting absolutely embarrassed by the Toronto Blue Jays. You're left in the dust in the playoffs, and the first thing that your manager says on Talking Yanks is, we're the least analytical organization around. So that basically means I'm a fucking idiot, right? So that's the next thing. Great. So now our manager calls himself an idiot, and Brian Cashman basically calls the fans an idiot and that he's smarter than everybody else. Right. Okay. Then the next thing. Brian Cashman thinks he's smarter than everybody else, so he's going to get himself a fourth-round compensatory pick for Trent Grisham. Oh, yeah, I'll offer him that $22 million qualifying offer. He's not going to accept that. He accepted it. Now the Yankees are on the hold for $22 million. Great. So this offseason has been a complete – oh, and then we haven't even mentioned the fact that Brian Cashman nor Aaron Boone nor any Yankee representative was at the Yankee meetings, at the GM meeting. That's great. So really, this offseason has been a complete car crash. It's been a complete car crash. And how am I supposed to expect that it's going to get any better?
It's not. I mean, look, the whole thing with the analytics, I don't think about this. He eliminated one of his excuses. Because he can't say, well, statistically, this should have worked out. So I gave it my best shot with what the analytics said.
Ralph the Pigeon. Now that's a fucking name. All right, Ralph. Thanks for joining, my guy.
It's that's why would you say you are the least analytical team? One, when we all know that to be false, but now you're saying so all these boneheaded moves are in your own head and not the binder. Like it makes zero sense.
What kind of a flex is that? It's good to have a new member in the chat. Geez. But honestly, what kind of a flex is that? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, you're calling yourself an idiot. Why would you call yourself an idiot? Aaron Boone is a smart guy. I refuse to believe that he is this stupid.
Yeah.
But he was honestly stupid enough to admit that all the disastrous decisions that happened under his watch were actually him. Thus, that means that you are a moron. Great. So we got a moron at manager, and Brian Cashman is really, really quickly catching up on the moron stakes. Like it is a race for moron right now, the moron race, and it's a battle to the death between Boone and Cashman. I mean, if you really picked apart that press conference, and I don't think enough Yankee fans did, you should have been very worried, because the stuff that you were hearing was they were very happy with it. Brian Cashman said he was proud of the year that they had. Right? He said that they're gonna
because they blew a 7-game lead and fought back just to lose the division and a tiebreaker and get embarrassed by that team in the playoffs. Yeah,
pat yourself on the fucking back. Next year. He's the starter next year, regardless. Brian Cashman said that. They're going to pay over the odds for Cody Bellinger. They'd be delighted if they could roll it back. These are worrying things. And then you also have, even though their manager and GM should be in lockstep, apparently Brian Cashman had more access to Anthony Volpe's medical files than Aaron Boone did.
I mean, the guy's only sitting with him every day.
Right. So wait, Brian, at no point did you consider that maybe you should let Aaron Boone in on the fact that Volpe was worse hurt than previously expected? You know, considering this is an organization that's in lockstep and that's so smarter than everybody else, including the fan base, if you guys are so infinitely smart and Volpe's health was much worse than previously believed, then shouldn't you tell your manager that? No? Because in that press conference, Boone said Volpe's performances had nothing to do with his injury. Brian Cashman said his performance had everything to do with his injury. That's a big divergence. Big fucking divergence right there. But this is who the Yankees are now. They are lost. They are completely lost. And I can't blame it on one person. I can't blame it all on Brian Cashman because his manager's a moron. He's admitted it.
We can blame one person. How? He's the one that lets the circus go on.
I can't blame it all on Brian Cashman because his manager's a moron. Heck, he admitted it himself. Great, right? But then I can't blame it all on Aaron Boone because Boone is trying his best, but he's not getting all the information from his GM. And his GM isn't putting the best roster he can on the field. Right? And I can't blame it all on Brian Cashman or Boone because Hal Steinbrenner is nowhere to be found. Where are you? And I can't blame it all on Hal Steinbrenner because he must be upset that he has to pay a $305 million payroll for a very average, mediocre to slightly okay roster. For $300 million? I'd be pissed too, and I wouldn't go much further over that. I can understand. See, I can't blame it all on one person. They're all to blame.
Yep.
Hal is nowhere. I don't know where he is. This is crazy. We've not heard from him. Brian Cashman makes a dumber decision each day than he did the previous day. Right? And now you got Aaron Boone, who none of us know what kind of role he has. One person says he answers to the analytics, he's in a puppet. But if that's the case, then the front office are morons. And if that's not the case, then Aaron Boone's a moron. So which one do you want? The Yankees are in so much trouble, and I can't emphasize this enough. They are in so much trouble. Now, they can still win over 80 games, and they can still make a wild card. And so the happy clappers on Twitter will say that's a good season. But that isn't a good season, not for the Yankee standards. For my standards, for your standards, for people that have seen the Yankees achieve shit in the past, just getting there and getting your ass handed to you on a plate is not a successful season. If you go deep in the playoffs and you fall short, but you go deep and you make a heck of a run at it, that is a successful season. But there's no way that I can look at this roster today and say that there's any hope in hell of that happening. Oh, a hell of a lot has to change over the next couple months.
What they have to do is I want to close it out with an analogy you brought up earlier. I thought it was actually a really good one, not like mine. When you were talking about walking through the mall. And really what they did was they were given a budget from their parents to go and get a new wardrobe. They got all these nice shirts. They're looking. They got $20 in their pocket. Realize they have no pants. That's the Yankees.
Well, they got the shirts, the shoes, the socks.
They got no pants.
And the shirt, but they got no pants.
That's the Yankees.
I like that one. That's a good
But, all right. It's always good to end with a laugh. And it's going to wrap things up for us.
This guy, I'm liking this guy. Please go back to the world, man. 2 years removed from a World Series appearance, and they're
it's terrible, Ralph. It really is. It's embarrassing.
They've added $30 million to their payroll. In fact, if you add McMahon, there's $43 million to their payroll.
It went back
72 hours, and they are worse than they were a month ago. That is a gift.
I mean, you had that. That's the genius of the Yankees. Only they can invest more money into their team and take steps backwards. It's remarkable. I'm so lucky.
Before we sign off, I do want to try and. Is there a way in which we can save this? Uncle Tats, because I give you my plan. Like, I think that the Yankees should be looking at the trade market, and I want to go after Okamoto, on Kyle Tucker, and I'm going to pass on Cody Bellinger. Uncle Tats, because if we do that, then we're going to be fine. Right? We'll be fine. It means blowing past the 305. Tats, how would you do it?
I'm still not giving up on Bellinger.
Okay.
I don't, because he could be plugged anywhere in the outfield and first base. So even though he's going to have a little steep of a contract for some people's liking, his versatility gives it that value where it's actually a justified contract.
Okay.
So if he wants 6 years at 30, I'm not opposed to it. You know what I mean?
All right. Okay. But that means that our payroll now will be $290. Okay.
With then you
build. What do you do?
You make a move to try to find somebody. You got to improve the infield. It's really. I'm looking to see how I can swindle a deal for a shortstop.
Okay, are you happy with man at third? Yeah.
To keep it, yeah, because if I'm able to improve on the offense, the lineup elsewhere, I'd rather have dependability on the hot corner.
No, I agree with that. I completely
I don't want to subtract from that just to get a bet. Almost like with Urshela. We knew we weren't going to go a lot with a bat, but nothing was going to get past him on third. One of those type of guys. I could live with that.
Like, so for instance, if they went and signed Bo Bichette, put him as short, and then you go my man at third, then we're actually going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I know Bichette's defense has taken a little step back, but I still think he has stuff in the tank. Right. And he plays very well at Yankee Stadium. So I don't think he's going to be intimidated by the atmosphere. So
Bichette, now, I'm perfectly content with Caballero being my shortstop. I love Caballero. Yes. He's like my favorite player.
You still have Rosario, don't you?
What's that?
Rosario?
We don't have Rosario, but we're interested in Rosario. We can bring Rosario back to be a backup third baseman. Caballero, perfectly happy with him in my shortstop. Yeah. Third base, I like McMahon. I really do. I just don't know if that's the best use of resources. Now that you've taken on $22 million for Trent Grisham, you're going to have to start looking at other areas in which to be cost effective to upgrade your roster. And the Yankees don't have that. And I'm not quite sure where they're going to go with it because they need a righty bat. Where are they going to get this righty bat from?
You're not. Right now, I don't know where I mean, the only thing I can think of as far as like with a trade, we could really use a leadoff hitter because that's not Grisham. That's where like a Donovan or a Kwan would come in.
What a mess. Yes, I would love a Donovan to lead off. You're right. That would be great. But that's not going to happen if they sign Cody Bellinger and you got Trent Grisham there. I just don't know what they're going to do. I think that this is it. I think they're going to.
Do they try to go cheaper with like a Ha-Seong Kim?
Backup infielder, not a problem.
Yeah, and go more towards the middle of the pack for the free agents. Not the top line guys. I don't want to go to the bottom of the barrel. I don't want to go dumpster diving yet. Yeah, we're not desperate, but we can't be wasting time waiting for the market to set itself. Sometimes you have to set the market. And
I'm very concerned that we're doubling down on some below average production. Volpe, below average production. McMahon, great defense, below average production. Catcher, below average production. Trent Grisham, average production. Left fielder, we don't have a left fielder. It's a concern. And then first base, we don't have a first baseman. And if they go with Ben Rice, then that takes away from his defense. And I think he's a better catcher than he is a first baseman. I want Ben Rice to be our catcher.
Yeah.
But the Yankees aren't going to pay to go and get a quality first baseman. They're going to go all in on Ben Rice. So that means more below average production at catcher and shortstop. And there's just too much. There's too many problems here, and they need a new general manager and a new front office and a new analytics staff to put a freaking to a bulldozer to this roster and to rebuild this thing. I just don't see a championship roster here.
No.
There's a wild card roster.
Maybe.
I
mean, every team gets a
expect a wild card roster out of this, but not any more than that.
I mean, I don't see us being on the bottom end of the. I am confident this could be a playoff team.
Yeah,
they're going to make the playoffs. But I'm sorry, that's not the prize anymore. It doesn't.
No.
It's meaningless.
Yes, if you get
you know what?
In the first round, it's meaningless.
And it's sad to say because yes, it should be an accomplishment to be in the running to be the best of the best.
Yeah,
getting to the postseason, yes, is a milestone. But from a fan base that was always promised the world, we're tired of the empty promises. So yeah, you know what? I'm not expecting much from you anymore.
No.
And you've worded it correctly so many times before. We're like, look, it doesn't mean anything.
You've worded it correctly. The playoffs is a milestone, but it's not an end goal.
Exactly.
That shouldn't be the end goal. It's a milestone. Good job. You got there. Now what are you going to do? But if you just flame out, then I'm sorry, what more credit do you want or deserve? It doesn't make any sense. That's not how I used to do things. And then you hear about the Blue Jays are interested in Bregman. The Blue Jays are all in on Kyle Tucker. The Mets are in on Bregman. The Dodgers are in on all three. They're running everybody.
Dodgers are in on everybody.
Everybody. The Yankees are only all in on
Ohtani's kid has a contract with the Dodgers.
And that's what the thing is. The Blue Jays want to get better. If the Blue Jays walk away with Kyle Tucker, and then we clap our hands over Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham coming back, all we've done is treaded water. We're just treading water. Well, other organizations are getting better, and it's going to come back, and it's going to bite us so severely in the ass. I will promise you. I will promise you. I don't want to be negative. I would love to be coming here saying, I can't wait for this winter ahead. There's so much we can do. After yesterday, I have very little hope. Very little hope that the best chance that we have is just to roll this thing back. And it'll be the same result. What is the definition of insanity, Uncle Tats?
Repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Boom!
That's the Yankees.
That's the Yankees. That is the Yankees.
Yeah.
Ran over.
No, and there's still a long way in the offseason to go. The next move could change our tone completely. So there's still a lot of work that they have to do, and I'm sure they're going to they're going to keep working. But is it going to be to have a liking? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it's bleak. Yeah, that's freaking right. But that is going to wrap things up for us. So just remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out. Your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This is the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats. I'm with Donald. And we are both with all of you guys in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you. So make sure you wear those pinstripes of pride and play on.
Have a better day than the Yankees.